Hollywood studios seem to be dedicating a specific amount of money or less to the fire relief efforts out in California. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and I am here today to talk about the $15 million that Disney is donating to fire relief efforts out there in Los Angeles. And that's a commendable thing. It's a fascinating thing for a $200 billion company to go ahead and commit to helping the people in the area where they are most affected here. The Anaheim parks out there are the second most profitable area for Disney to do business. So it makes sense that they would dedicate $15 million to recovery efforts. Some might ask why it's not more. In fact, the $25 billion company over here, Warner Brothers Discovery, is also donating the same amount to the immediate response and rebuilding efforts out there in California. Now, one more that just came out. It looks like Hollywood Reporter is saying that YouTube has committed $15 million towards fire relief and will open production facilities to creators. That's another fascinating amount for YouTube, which is obviously part of Alphabet and Google there, which is also part of Alphabet. I believe that's a $1 trillion company right there. A fascinating thing to see all of these amounts dedicated towards rebuilding efforts. And why is the magic number 15 million? Anyways, here's the panel discussion that we had about this on That Park Place. Let us know your thoughts.
Disney and Paramount donate to LA fire relief and rebuilding efforts. The CAA launches SoCal Fire Fund. That's by Michaela Z and Kim Murphy. All right. At Variety, the Walt Disney Company is donating $15 million for response and rebuilding efforts amid the ongoing Southern California fires. Likewise, Paramount is donating $1 million to the underground organizations, including the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation, California Fire Foundation, Red Cross Direct Relief, World Central Kitchen, and Best Friends Animal Society. Meanwhile, the CAA Foundation has launched the SoCal Fire Fund to provide support to those impacted. The fund is administered by the Entertainment Industry Foundation. Quote, as this tragedy continues to unfold, the Walt Disney Company is committed to supporting our community and our employees as we all work together to recover and rebuild from this unbelievable devastation. This being a statement from Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Iger. Walt Disney came to Los Angeles with a little more than his limitless imagination, and it was here that he chose to make his home, pursue his dreams, and create extraordinary storytelling that means so much to so many people around the world. We are proud to provide assistance to this resilient and vibrant community in this moment of need. Hey, you know what? Between the Eden Fire, the Palisades Fire, and now what we have the Kenneth Fire, we have the Otto Fire, I believe, over there in Ventura right there. Yeah, we're talking about devastation that is now eclipsing, I think it was 40,000 acres burned, which, you know, I mean, if you look at the overall acreage of Walt Disney World, for example, I think we're talking about 28,000 acres roughly there. I know that number has changed over time, but I mean, this is a massive amount of damage. We're talking, I mean, the early estimates are well in excess of $150 billion. Yeah. Over 20,000 structures, I believe, burned down at this point. This is a just horrendous incident that is taking place here. Go ahead.
Yeah, but sarcastically, the good news is the victims of this particular fire, instead of a $750 check like they got in Florida, they're going to get a $770 check. So that's going to make all the difference. It's probably a loan too, which is
it probably is a loan that you have to pay back right there with interest. It is really, really tough. So any of these organizations or companies coming forward and looking to help out, hey, you know what? I'm never going to criticize you for any amount that they want to pitch in here.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the loss of life now, I still think is well underestimated. I think they've had the death toll officially climb to 24, but I guarantee you there's more people than that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at all the arrests that are being made around these fires now, you're starting to understand that this isn't what it was originally reported as. You know, willful action by people because of the opportunity that was afforded them. It's insane.
At every level too.
Yeah, and it's, when you're losing over 12,000 structures, they've got over 40,000 acres burned through, easily and quickly, for the greater Los Angeles area specifically. But if you think about it, the Palisades fire by
Yeah.
itself, over 23,000 acres. Right now, reports are last made that one's only 14% contained, and
Yeah.
it's not in a great area. I mean, it took out the beautiful community of Palisades, but you've got over probably closer to 100,000 residents that were evacuated from the areas surrounding these fires, and it doesn't the news doesn't get better. Paulie and I had been hoping, and Paulie specifically was wonderful when he broke out the fact that the marine layer was returning to help out a bit, and the winds are going to die down, but that unfortunately reversed itself. So we're just in one of the worst situations ever, and yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that. It's insane.
You can. This is just one of the fires, everybody. This is not all of them collectively. This is just the Palisades fire. You can really see the damage and devastation, how quickly this grew and expanded, really incited by those winds there. We're talking winds 80 miles, 90 miles, 100 miles per hour being reported in some areas. And so when you add fuel like that, and when you have these embers push the way they have across highways, across freeways, across PCH and these breaks that you naturally have, I mean, it really is quite something. And yes, I would echo the sentiments in the chat right here, praying for everybody. And this includes not just people affected by the Palisades fire, but all of Southern California. Also, too, the people that have been affected in Florida, North Carolina, and the places that have been affected by these hurricanes. I don't mean to criticize the company's response to this specific incident, or even the incident on the East Coast right here. Disney, I think, was one of the first ones to really come out with a big offer, the biggest offer that I've seen from an organization by this point, towards these fires right here.
Well,
hey,
and the one we've been focusing on, of course, is the Palisades fire, because it is so widespread. But the Eaton fire is huge. The Eaton fire, 14,000, over 14,000, 15,000 acres, I think now, and 7,000 structures there. Like, there's actually a lawsuit that was filed yesterday against Southern California Edison, the power company there, for failure to clear brush, and that the assumption, and I'm not sure it's actually accurate, but the assumption is that was because they were tracking faults in the electrical service, that was where one that was sparked by the inattentiveness of the utility company. This is not new. This has happened before. That specific reason really did the area around San Francisco and Oakland. If you remember the orange sky from just a few years ago, that was because of a utility problem. They just hadn't taken care of all the brush. And so it's not like this isn't a known danger. It's just people are not following through on their responsibilities. And it's very important that those responsible have some accountability. And larger discussion is who's responsible here.
Right.
And I would say, it's the people who failed to prepare and were willing to cut budgets of known problems. That's dumb. Why would you do that? Why do you want to, provide funding for, things that are not related to the general public interest, and the safety of a given area? Instead, promote some kind of a choir or something. I mean, there's 100 things that were being funded that why?
Well, and people, people might argue, hey, you know what, culture, you don't live in Southern California right now. You can't speak to these issues, although I know you have, I know you're very familiar with the area and everything like that. So I don't mean to question you, but there have been some arguments that suggest that, people are, hey, don't tell us what to do and how we're doing things. You don't know, and all of that. I get it. I understand. I think there were failures, absolute failures, that could have mitigated many of these damages right here, especially when you consider like $100 million worth of supplies and resources in a boneyard, for example. Why weren't those fixed and properly maintained? Not sure. Reservoirs being empty when they should have been filled. I think that could have helped out a lot. Obviously, 100-mile-an-hour winds, not much you can do there. But I think there was there were many things that could have helped in this situation right here. But I'll say this, if you're commenting on these things from Southern California, or if you're not in Southern California, it will be a nationwide effort to rebuild here. Okay, $150 billion, that doesn't exist in LA County to rebuild with this thing. This is going to be a very much a nationwide effort, and this is why the nation, I think, is getting involved the way they are, because I think they understand that, yeah, it's going to be a collective measure to rebuild, in hopefully the way we're all hoping, that this won't be reimagined like Gavin Newsom has said. Reimagine.
Yeah,
2.0.
Yeah, and I think that's a very telling idea over who owns that guy, because it certainly isn't the state of California. It's some globalist leader inspiration there that he's driving from. And yeah, I mean, if LA turns into the first set of 15-minute cities, that's going to tell you exactly what the purpose of letting this happen the way it did, what it was to begin with. So there's never they again, the one team here, one situation here points out just who you work for. And I would say Gavin Newsom doesn't work for the state of California. That's been clear, quite evident for a long period of time. And Karen Bass is probably one of the worst leaders that anybody could have selected for Los Angeles. Again, I mean, in everything points to them taking more and more money away from critical infrastructure items like firefighting capabilities and the desire to do even more. That's not good. And I don't think that anybody should accept if they try to do these things, if they try to halt people rebuilding on their structures, if they make permitting so hard or have any ordinances or state laws in place that make it impossible for people to get their properties rebuilt in a period of time. There are a lot of accusations being made right now that we probably should, wait to follow up on. But this is one of those times where if this was all driven by greed, which oftentimes it is, then I think I'm out. I think whatever it takes to defeat these people politically, to remove them, I think should be done, and I'll support that, even though I'm not a current resident in California. So there's that.
Yeah. I think, look, if my thought process is, what can we do to prevent these things from happening again, right? If we, and I'm not saying that we hold up any funding in which to assure that those things won't happen, because it's a little, it's tough.
I think if they have to do this work fashion, I think you'll agree. They update the infrastructure in that area so it doesn't contribute to this happening ever again.
Well, and like for example, Notre Dame fire, right? They rebuilt, good stuff, but they put a lot of fire mitigation in order to prevent that from happening again.
Yeah, I
think that's the expectation here. Latino Slant, Bash, do you have any idea how many billions LA creates for the economy? It's huge, and I'm not saying that we not rebuild or whatever, or to undervalue the economic output of these areas. It's tremendous. Not saying it's not. It's just this is a horrible incident, and many resources will be dedicated to rebuilding as much as possible. A lot of resources being dedicated right now in order to stop these fires from expanding. But there you go. Go ahead to culture. Then we had to finish up here.
The last estimate here for this was that the LA County generates about $1 trillion. As of the numbers revealed in 2018, about $1 trillion just in LA County alone for economic production every year. So, yeah, it's a lot of money. California was the 7th largest economy in the world, not the United States, the world. So, yeah, it's pretty massive.
It's massive, and there's definitely importance and value in getting this all rebuilt and going forward. It's just, man, it's such a tough thing, and unfortunately, it's just it's sad. I'll just leave it at that.